Hi, my name is Bryant Fan, and this is my fan club. Welcome to our crash course about interest groups, party identification, and mass media.
Let's start with interest groups. In case you didn't know what they are, it is defined as a group of people that seek to influence public policy on the basis of a particular common interest or concern. They are used to raise awareness and stimulate interest in public affairs through education, serve as a link between members and government, provide information to government such as data and testimony that is useful for public policy, and provide options for political participation where citizens can work together to achieve a common goal.
We will touch on three categories of interest groups: economic, groups that promote cause, and public interest groups. Examples of economic interest groups are labor groups that promote and protect the interests of organized labor. Examples of labor groups are the AFL-CIO and the Teamsters Union. Business groups promote and protect business interests. In general, this includes the Chamber of Commerce of the United States. Professional groups maintain standards of the profession, hold professional meetings, and publish journals. An example would be the National Education Association. Groups that promote cause can vary based on religion-related causes, welfare of specific groups of individuals, or specific causes. Examples of each are National Council of Churches, American Association of Retired Persons, and American Civil Liberties Union. Public interest groups are concerned with issues such as the environment, consumer protection, crime, and civil rights. An example would be Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
The Constitution wasn't going to include political parties, but during the ratification of the Constitution, Federalists and Anti-Federalists disagreed over the proper role of government. That resulted with the creation of the Federalists and Jefferson Republicans, or Democratic Republicans.
They have maintained a two-party tradition for three major reasons. The first is the historical roots, which includes its British heritage and the initial divisions between the Federalists and Anti-Federalists. The second is the electoral system and how its single-member districts depict the only one representative is chosen from each district, one winner per office. Lastly, the election laws vary from state to state, and it would be extremely challenging for minority parties to make it on the ballot in countless states.
Between 1789 to 1800, the rise of political parties began developing under the command of George Washington. The differences between Hamilton's Federalists and Jefferson's Democratic Republicans led to the development of political parties.
From 1800 to 1824, the Democratic Republicans dominated the government until they split into two factions. Until 1860, the Democratic Party dominated American politics and became known as the Party of the Common Man, that encouraged popular participation and helped to bring about an expansion of suffrage to all adult white males.
Around 1860, the Republican Party sprouted as a third party after it developed from a split in the Whig Party. The Republican Party was made up of mostly former members of other political parties. The Republican Party elected Abraham Lincoln president in 1860 and became a dominant party following the Civil War.
Around 1932, with the onset of the Depression, new electoral coalitions were formed and the Republicans lost their control of government. FDR united minorities, blue-collar workers, Catholics, Jews, and women to create the New Deal coalition. The Democrats became the dominant party during the election of 1932, and Eisenhower and Nixon were the only Republican presidents from 1932 to 1968. The Republicans gained control of Congress in 1994.
Since 1968, divided government has characterized American institutions, a condition in which one political party controls the presidency and the opposing party controls one or both houses of Congress. The division often causes a potential gridlock when opposing parties and interests often block each other's proposals, creating a political stalemate. In the election of 2000, George Bush won the presidency and the Republican Party won control of the House of Representatives and the Senate until Jim Jeffords changed affiliation to independent. In the midterm election of 2002, the Republicans again gained control of the executive and legislative branches, creating a unified government. In the 2006 off-year election, the Democrats won control of both houses of Congress, returning divided government to U.S. politics.
Electoral de-alignment occurs when a large number of voters no longer support that specific political party. Typically, these voters call themselves independence and believe they don't have to be loyal to any party. On the other hand, electoral realignment is when voting patterns shift and new coalitions of supporters have formed.
Types of third parties. There are 4 types of third parties. There are enduring minor parties, single-issue minor parties, candidate-centered minor parties, and fusion minor parties. Enduring minor parties are, as the name implies, enduring and are similar to major parties in that they have been around for a while, but aren't as big, source or size-wise, or as successful as the 2 major parties in winning elections. One such example would be that a libertarian party. Single-issue minor parties, also known as ideological parties, promote a single-party agenda in line with an issue such as the Green Party. Candidate-centered parties are based around the ideals and political ideology of single candidate. Finally, fusion parties fall under the umbrella of both the enduring or single-issue parties and are special because they often endorse an agenda that contains aspects of multiple different parties and candidates that are supposed to or under the label of many different parties. This is known as cross-endorsement. However, this practice of cross-endorsements is illegal in 8 states.
Structure and organization of political parties. A political party must have an effective organization to accomplish its goals. The president is automatically considered the party leader, while the opposition is often without a single strong leader.
The National Convention is the national voice of the party. It happens in the summer of every 4th year where they select the candidates for president and vice president.
The National Committee is in charge of the party's business between conventions, such as choosing the convention site, establishing the convention rules, distributing party literature, and helping the party raise campaign contributions.
The national chairperson is elected by the party's national committee. The responsibilities of the chairperson include fundraising, recruiting new members, encouraging unity, and working to help the party's presidential nominee win.
Every party has a congressional campaign committee in both the House of Representatives and Senate, and it works to ensure the election or re-election of the party's candidates. It does this by raising funds and figuring out how much money each candidate will receive.
State and local organization. State and local parties are structured in much the same way as the national party organization. However, differences exist from state to state. Today, state parties are more organized and better funded than in previous years.
The future of political parties. Here are some key terms.
The definition of mass media is any of the means of communication as television or newspapers that reach very large numbers of people.
How modern media developed. There are 5 main platforms for modern media, the oldest being newspapers, which are able to document what is going on in the world through different daily articles. Magazines are less frequent to report on the political aspect of what is going on in the world. However, there is political magazines like National Review, The Economist, and The Atlantic. The next form of mass media is radio. It began in the 1920s and often on various radio networks, people share their opinions on relevant topics. Today, television claims the largest audience of the mass media. It broadcasts current events, and it is where many candidates campaign. The rapid growth of internet usage has led to the media organizations using the internet as a way to convey information. Newspapers, magazines, blogs, and radio and television stations have sites on the World Wide Web.
The role of media. Media's role is to keep the public informed, share public opinions, and to provide a connection between citizens and the government. Media ownership and government regulation. The mass media is privately owned in the United States, giving them more political freedom than in most other countries, compared to if they were to be publicly owned, where they would have to be dependent on advertising profits. Government regulation of the media affects the broadcast media more than the print media. The government regulation of media can be put into 3 different categories.
Technical regulations regulate interstate and foreign communication by radio, television, telephone, telegraph, cable, and satellite. Structural regulations, these control the organization and ownership of broadcasting companies. In 1996, the Telecommunications Act broadened competition. Content regulations. Although the mass media is protected by the First Amendment, the broadcast media have been subject to regulation of content. Hold on, Jacob. Wait, what's that?
What?
Oh, looks like we're getting breaking news coverage. We'll send you down to our fan club out in the field.
What is lobbying?
Okay, so this is definitely not textbook definition. but from watching The West Wing and from many, many moons ago when I took government, lobbying is what each party does when they are trying to pass, maybe it's just pass a policy, like say something is like a vote's going to the House. They will have lobbyists who work with these special interest groups to say, hey, we'll give you this if you vote for this. So we'll give you all this money to the cornfields in Iowa if you vote for this policy, which is a true thing.
Thanks, guys.
What is lobbying?
Lobbying is when you influence an election, maybe? Or lobbying is spending long periods of time in hotel lobbies.
We're here with Sean Cook. So what is the first step in influencing elections?
One of the first steps, especially if you're a candidate, would be partisan satisfaction. Like, let's say if you are a Republican candidate, you would want to satisfy the majority of Republican voters.
Good answer.
Great job, Sean Cook.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm used
All
to
right,
such.
we're going to begin our U.S. history, AP U.S. history questions. The first one, Nicole Morris.
I'm ready.
What is the first strategy in influencing elections?
Political campaigning.
Great answer.
First strategy in influencing elections.
What's
What's the first strategy?
of influencing elections?
Yeah.
It's abstract, like rigging one or
It's up to
creating
your
the outcome you
interpretation.
want?
You know, we like to cheat in our elections.
Yeah. No, we don't. Tammy.
This will be
Really
good
delete that.
bloopers.
Delete those ones. Or yeah,
Delete that.
actually, yeah.
Take a break.
Around 1860, the Republican Party.
Move the bulldog.
News events may be staged as media events. The White House allows special access to the president, with the press receiving information through
I'm sorry, Jacob. I made a face.
Go to it, Gordon.
I'll zoom in later.
This is my cat.
Ew.
Wait, what? You said this is my dinner?
Like,
cat.
this is my cat. And we said,
What is the voice? I started it, so go on.
Alright.
Okay.
Washington, D.C. has the largest press court.
what?